Initiating download. Podcast download complete. It's the Superpower Podcast.
Dia Direct, the fly and fab go-to girlfriend, is all about bringing you interviews
with celebrities,
information,
and her super friends,
and inspiration that take your life to the next level.
Dia Direct gets real.
She doesn't just interview, she goes in. Dia Direct makes a difference
with Superpower.
Hey y'all, I have a confession. I have been a super size junkie. Yes, we all want the big house, the big car, all the stuff. And then as life happens, or let's say you have to move, you realize I don't need half of this stuff. A house that is underused, too many clothes that you don't wear. Okay, let's not even talk about food and unhealthy weight. Too much of that. And of course, too much emotional baggage. Well, I am officially saying and agreeing that supersizing is overrated. Today, fitness guru and lifestyle expert Donna Richardson Joyner gets us all the way together about her own journey and some real steps to reinvent your life after loss. Now, if you don't know who she is, let me just break it down a little bit. She's in the Fitness Hall of Fame, y'all, okay? An author, motivational speaker, a renowned lifestyle expert, and she's worked with everyone from First Lady Michelle Obama on the Let's Move campaign, Oprah Winfrey in South Africa. I could go on and on. And now she has a tiny house project, a clothing line called Fashion That Fits. And one of Donna's favorite sayings is that the best outfit you will ever wear is your self-confidence and self-worth. While that may be true, it doesn't mean that she hasn't faced her own challenges, including divorce from her famous husband and my former boss, radio's Hall-of-Famer, Mr. Tom Joyner. Oh. She's also experienced the passing of her father, who she was the caretaker of, and those are just two examples of some real life experiences and transitions that Donna has had to deal with. So, even though Donna has lived her best super fab life, traveling 51 countries and 6 continents, okay? Not bad, right? But still, like most of us, she experiences life's highs and lows. And now she is reinventing her life and resizing her lifestyle. She is sharing her real life journey with us like never before. We are going in girlfriend style, and we are discussing the emotional, practical, and spiritual steps to recover and reinvent your life after divorce and more. Welcome, I'm Dia Direct. Now listen up as Donna gets us all the way together with 5 superpower steps to trim your life.
It's the Superpower Podcast. We'll have more right after this.
Have you ever been in a relationship, personally or professionally, that has failed and it made you feel lost and discouraged? Well, what if I told you that you can literally leverage every single painful situation and make your pain pay you back? After all, it costs you something. Just like with a bank account, you want to get some interest off of everything that you've been through. All the tears, all the time, all the effort. Make it pay you back. Use it. Leverage it. Check out my Amazon #1 bestseller, Failure is Fuel, and experience how my testimony can fuel your life to the next level.
And we're back with Superpower.
So I'm here talking to my girl, Donna Richardson Joyner, Donna, we go way back.
Way back. Do we have to let them know how far back we go?
No, it's not that far, but far enough for it to make a difference.
So, Dia, I'm going to let you tell how we got connected years ago.
First of all, unless you're just crazy, everybody knows who Donna Richardson Joyner is, but you're more than just a fitness guru. You're a lifestyle connoisseur, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And so, we've seen you in all the blogs, we've seen you on TV, we've, heard you on the radio. You've done so much with your career, but obviously you were one of the first key Black women to be on national television doing fitness. Yes. And so what's interesting about that is to see your journey.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. And which of course we'll talk about. But for folks who don't know, Donna and I met years ago. We were actually at, was it an NFL or NBA? It was an NFL Super Bowl weekend.
Yes.
In DC, and I was speaking in a suite for NFL wives. And I remember after speaking, and I'm like, all these people are in here. Donna Richardson is in here.
Girl, please.
And I just told my story and was just transparent and just, spoke with passion. And you came up to me afterwards and you were just like, you need to be on tour with us. And that was the Tampax Total You Tour, which then turned into the Pantene Total You Tour. And we traveled the country to HBCUs and on national stages in different cities. Myself, you, Free from 106 in Park.
Right.
Now we're dating ourselves.
Yes.
But Sister Soldier, Queen Latifah.
There's so many.
So many.
Nikki Giovanni.
Dr. Rowe.
Oh my God.
From Heart and Soul, a magazine at the time. So it was such an experience. And so it's interesting, the full circleness of it all, because we covered mind, body, and spirit.
Yes.
And this podcast is still very much about that.
Right.
And so with that in mind, and with all that you bring to the table, I have to ask you,
Yes.
Donna, what is your superpower?
It's my superpower. Wow. I would say my superpower is I am a motivator. I mean, that's what I've been doing around the world, teaching people how to become healthier, how to have a good attitude, how to live their best life. I think that I just have a gift for it. And I've been so blessed to travel the world spreading the gospel of health. And so now I would say that I am still that motivator that continues to motivate everyone, but I really target women and young girls. I'm also a communicator. I think it's important to be able to do TV and do radio and the exercise videos that people know me for, and to be a motivational speaker. I want to reach the heart of the woman or the young girl. I want to reach the soul. I think it's important that, when you're talking to people, especially where we are today, it's important to talk about changing your mindset, because that opens up everything. That opens up so many opportunities to people. I remember Bishop saying to me, Bishop Jakes is my pastor, and I go to the Potter's House, and he was talking about change, because change is just so important no matter what you're trying to accomplish. And he said, you must eat from the garden of your own thoughts, so don't grow anything you don't want to eat. So that goes back to the power of a transformed mind. So I try to really speak about changing the mindset, strengthening your goals and how you're going to get there, but also have to speak to the physical part, obviously, eating healthy, working out, and then to the spiritual piece of it. I could help you get a six-pack or get, some like really nice arms, but if you've got a bad attitude or your spirit is foul, it wouldn't matter, because you have to change from the inside out. It manifests in the inside before it comes on the outside. So I always have talked and motivated and communicated to people about their whole being. And I think that it starts with loving yourself. It starts with you enjoying the essence of who you are. And that's just an evolution.
What's interesting about that is every time
I'm a connector.
You are a connector.
Because think about it. That's really strong, because I saw you and said, hey, Pantene Total You need to have Dia. She's amazing and awesome, and she brings to the table wisdom, experience, and I felt we needed that on that tour. So all of these years, whether it's women's retreats or speaking at women's conferences or Essence and all the other big events, AKA Deltas, it's all about connecting with each other, because I feel like girls compete, but women empower. I'll say it again.
Say it again.
Girls compete, but women empower and uplift and inspire, but you can't do that unless you feel good about who you are.
Well, that's interesting, though, because even though you may be at an age where you're a woman emotionally, that doesn't necessarily mean it's all caught up. You know what I mean? And not in every area of your life, because everybody still has insecurities and things that they're dealing with, and a lot of underdeveloped emotional issues that haven't been addressed. So that is a part of the process, right?
Yeah, but that's all about taking care of yourself. Like, I know I'm no different than anybody else. I've had setbacks, I've had challenges, I've had to overcome some big mountains. But what I did remember during that whole process was I had to have have faith in myself, but have faith in God, knowing that I'm doing the right thing. But I think as you're going through the process, which is sometimes really, really ugly, I had learned along the way that you have to learn to decrease yourself and increase Him, because there's a lot coming at you. You're challenged, you're overwhelmed. But I think that if you can not get caught up into yourself and into the titles and what you have accomplished, you have to humble yourself before Him, and humble yourself enough to know that you're going to continue to grow and evolve into the woman He's creating you to be. So that really piece of it is important. But also when you're coming through that storm or going through the process, you have to have enough faith to know that on the other side, you had to go through all this to get to where He's taking you. But once you're there, you have to develop a new norm. And that's tough because, you feel beat down, you feel broken. I remember, I'm no different. I remember after my divorce, I felt like, what's that movie? Dead Man Walking? I remember I'm feeling like, dead woman walking. It's such, you felt these different emotions are going on and you don't feel good about yourself and you hit a bottom. I mean, I was broken. And it took every day me working on myself, every day asking God for the grace to change, asking God for forgiveness. And so in that new norm, I develop everyday personal love for me. How do Donna love herself better? How does she love herself more? And that takes time. It's not overnight.
It's not.
It's also, how do I take better care of myself? Yes, I'm a fitness and health expert, but when you're going through something, none of that really matters.
Okay, speak on that for a second, though, because, every time I see you, regardless of what you were going through, you always maintained a smile on your face. And I'm glad you said it before I did, because what happens is, whether it's people seeing you on social media, people seeing you out and about or whatever, looking good, because we do a good job of looking good on the outside, but a lot of times we can be suffering on the inside. And so when people look at a Donna Richardson and they know what their truths are, and they know what their struggles and challenges are, and they see a smile on your face, they don't necessarily think you can relate to what they're going through. So A, how did you keep a smile on your face? And B, what was the hardest part of that process for you? Because I've been divorced. I know what it can feel like, and different parts of it can be more challenging than others. As an example, in addition to just the heartbreak of the loss, sometimes it's just the embarrassment of managing what I think other people think about me or our situation, and how that's going to shift our norms.
I think for me, I just had to get quiet, because you have a lot of people giving you advice. You have a lot of people talking. You have people trying to just really tell you what you should do and how you should do it. I even went to therapy. I just think that you really have to get quiet so that you can listen to Him, because a lot of that becomes noise and it becomes distractions. So you got to take that time out for yourself and say, okay, I surrender all, and start to get quiet so that you can get clarity. It's important that as you're moving forward, there's so much of you wanting to hold on, even though you got to move on, right? And part of that goes back to that whole mindset. How do you change? And for me, you get to a point where you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, right?
Come on.
You are backed against that wall and you're like, okay, God, change has to happen. And what I say to people is, you have to want to change more than you want to stay the same.
That's good.
I really do, because nothing will happen. You'll stay there, continue to repeat the same cycle. So there takes, a lot of courage for you to step out on faith and go, I got to make this happen. I'm going to step out and I'm going to go about it differently. I'm going to think differently, because I know if I change my thoughts, my actions will follow. But that's not overnight. It took me, I can say, in that whole process of moving forward, probably about a year. And that may seem long to some people, but I wanted to get healthy and whole again. I didn't date or anything for that long period of time, because I had to work on me. I don't want to go back into a relationship broken and unhappy and, having all this baggage. I want to go and be happy and successful and know that whoever I'm coming together with, we're making each other better. There's a greater love. We're adding more value, more joy, more happiness to each other. So that's an important part that you have to, it starts with you.
So
Nobody else can do it for you.
So the smile on your face that I would always see, was that intentional, just intentionally trying to put on a good face or smile from within?
Well, no, sometimes it was. I think that when you're going through it and not everybody knows the circumstances around that situation, you do learn to fake it. I hate to say that because you don't want to tell your business because you're going through it. But at the same time, there's that saying, never let them see you sweat.
Yeah.
But
although you talk about sweating in the spirit.
I know. That was good. So, after a while, I got to a place, and this is only from working on me and getting stronger, where I could definitely position myself to be happier and to have that smile on my face. But now I'm healthier. That means I can be transparent. I can say to that woman, I just went through a divorce and this is what I've felt, this is what I've gone through, but guess what? God is good and this is where I am now. This is me moving forward, reinventing myself, going from brokenness to a business mogul. I mean, the sky's the limit, but you cannot allow your circumstances to define who you are.
That's good. Now, how did you... what kind of response do you feel like? Did you feel a different response from people when you did become more transparent? And did that surprise you?
No, it didn't, because I think it made you more real. People can connect because now they're like, oh, I got something, that's in common with her. Whereas before they just see this person who's always put together, packaged, and looking ever so great. They don't know what I'm going through. They don't know how I got to where I am. Now you can be transparent through Facebook Live and, all your social media, but you have to find a balance there because I think you can sometimes put too much information out there. And I think it's important that people do see the happy side. And then I remember on Facebook, this is a great story about that. I'm posting motivational, inspirational posts all the time. And someone tried to steal my tiny house. Okay, so I have a boutique and a tiny house. So they tried to steal it. And at the time I drove up to the warehouse, the tiny house was tilted down like this, nose down, and the booty up. And I was like, oh my God, because I'm getting ready to do interviews with TV stations.
Come on.
And I'm almost like in tears. And I get this phone call and it's my best friend, Pat Smith. And she goes, hi, Donna, how are you? All peppy. And I'm like, I don't think this is a good time to talk. She goes, what's wrong? Because she's always used to me being a little Energizer bunny rabbit.
Right.
And I told her what happened. She goes, okay, we're going to pray about this. And I'm like, okay. So we prayed. And then she goes, okay, you're going to go back out there. You're going to get a plan together and you're going to do just like you teach others to do. You're going to make this happen. And whatever it takes, let's get a plan. Let's get that tiny house back up on its feet. She said, but I need you to do something for me. And I said, what? She goes, you need to go out and do Facebook Live and let people see what's happened.
The journey.
And I said, I'm not doing it. And we went back and forth for 5 minutes arguing about me going on Facebook. I'm like, no, I don't want to show them. And she goes, Donna, people only see the good side, the positive side.
That is it.
They need to see that you're going through it like anybody else. Because I was in tears.
Yes.
Like I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, Channel 8's going to be here, Channel 4. And look at my tiny house. Somebody tried to take it and give it as a gift to their little boo-boo. So I went back.
Not their little boo-boo. I'm so mad at little boo-boo.
So it would have been a nice Christmas gift because she could have had a nice closet, right?
Okay.
Put all her beautiful clothes in there. I got chandeliers and carpet and it's just blinged out. It's beautiful. So I went outside and I said, hey, everybody, this is my tiny house. And they didn't even know I had a tiny house. Well, I'm the first fashion boutique for men and women in a tiny house. So I go out and I tell them my story and I'm, very theatrical and that tiny house is like this and someone tried to steal and they're like,
oh, that's drama. They like
God.
that. That's a great story. Are you kidding me?
So many people responded. One, they didn't know I had a tiny house boutique. Two, they felt my heart. They knew that I was just like, broken, that this was happening because it was such a great concept to do. I thought I was just, doing something that would help my online store. And now I knew that this was a moving billboard. I could put the boutique in the tiny house. It creates an intimate, warm environment. And what I really love about it is that it can go anywhere. It can go to the house, the church, the conference, the country club. So that moment meant a lot to me. And then 2 weeks later, I was doing my grand opening at the Via Real for the unveiling of the tiny house. So It's things like that a good friend will pull you in and say, she put me in check and said, you need to share that. And I did. And I'm so grateful and thankful that I did it.
Yeah, it's those moments of transparency, and they can be intentional. Like you said, you don't need to cast your pearls to the swine. Everybody doesn't need to know everything.
Right.
But that alone can be ministry.
Yes.
And literally, it can help somebody else get up out the bed who might just be looking at their phone and they're thinking or feeling, woe is me. And then a moment like that can literally be defining to redesigning your life, which is really what you're in the process of doing. and as we all should.
Right.
And I want to kind of talk about that whole downsizing piece too. Okay. But before I do, you mentioned something earlier that I wanted to follow up on.
Yes.
Because I also believe that you have to be intentional about focusing more on what you want than on what you don't want.
Yes.
And here's why I say that, Donna, because so many women that I talk to, and I'm sure the same with you, who have been hurt, who have gone through life's changes, brokenhearted, etc., right? And, this whole oversaturated thought of being a strong Black woman as if we're not human, right? I think has crippled a lot of us because it doesn't give you permission to share the other side, and you worry about things that really don't matter in the name of appearing strong.
Yes.
And truth be told, you don't even know if you're strong until you're tested.
Right.
So if you don't even share with anybody that you're tested,
Testimony,
how will they know that you're strong? Right, because it's a testimony.
Right.
And in the same spirit of working out, right? You know this, and I say this, that whatever muscle you work on the most is the one that's the strongest.
Yes.
So if you're not working on something, don't be surprised if you break or you can't handle it because you're not exercising it.
Right.
Why do I say that? Because in the name of protecting ourselves, so many women are have a hard shell, and I think get misinterpreted because and so it speaks to that being strong Black woman, and truthfully, it's that she's vulnerable. She has such an open heart, or she has such a heart and so much to give, but she's afraid to open that heart. Right. And so it comes across as closed and hard, and we lead with what we don't want. Right. And I'm not going to let anybody hurt me. Right. I don't need a man, blah, blah, blah. When in your heart, you know that's what you want. And so one of the things that I try to share all the time, and you just said it, so I couldn't let it go, is if you focus more on what you do want instead of what you don't, that is what you will attract. Right. But if you're only focusing on, what you don't want to happen, you can't be surprised if that's the thing that happens because that's your energy.
Exactly.
What do you think about that?
I agree. I try to really have people focus on how do they move forward, because we get so stuck in our past. We want to revert back to what we know. It's comfortable there, So one of the things that I'm going to give you 4 tips that I really encourage. 5.
We'll be back with more Superpower Her with your host, Dia Direct.
Some of us look soft on the outside, but we're hard as stone inside. Others appear hard on the outside, but are really marshmallows inside. If this is you, it probably means you're often misunderstood. It may even be hurting your love life, brand, or professional growth. This year, let's be more strategic and intentional. Soft is the new power book, has the answers you need, guiding you on how to tap into your soft side and using it as a strategic edge. Be more intentional by using emotional intelligence to communicate. Learn and leverage the art of becoming a man whisperer. Go to Amazon.com and order your copy of Soft is the New Power today.
We're back where Superfly women testify. It's the Superpower Her podcast with your host, Dia Direct.
One of the things that I'm going to give you 4 tips that I really encourage, 5 for women to do. Number 1 is commit. You cannot conquer what you're not committed to moving forward. So you have to be committed. You have to be focused. You have to have obedience, or you're not going to be able to move forward because you're so, conscious of hanging on to what was instead of focusing in on what will be, or even being in this moment, So that, number 1 is the commitment. The second one I would say is we have to make better choices. We will make a lot of excuses, but we have to make better choices because whether it's eating, whether it's going back to school, whatever it is that you are trying to accomplish, it goes back into that decision making. And as women, and I still do this, I have to catch myself, we tend to make decisions emotionally. And that is not good because the outcome usually is bad. So you have to think of it.
And your emotions change all the time.
So you wouldn't make
hormones alone.
Oh gosh, let's not talk about that. Oh gosh, I'm going through that piece of it now. But I think, when you talk about making better decisions, if I was making a decision for business, emotions wouldn't even play in it. It's about making the best decision, negotiating the best deal. So we need to take that same mindset and utilize that in our personal life.
Right.
Like I know women who are such badasses, boss ladies in their work.
That's right.
But personally, wrong choice over and over again when it comes to dating.
But that same energy can transfer.
It sure can, but it's something that you got to work on. Then we talked about change because nothing will take place. And the Bible says transforming and renewing of your mind. You have to change your thinking. And when you change your thinking, then you change your behavior.
Yeah.
And this is, we've learned these behaviors. We've had these habits for a long time. You've got to break this habit. And it requires you every day working on it. So if you want something different, you have to think differently about it.
Yes.
The fourth one is courage. We talked a little bit about that. You've got to be very courageous and be relentless and have tenacity to go after it. Because even right now, I'm reinventing myself.
Yes.
People know me for health and wellness, but wow, here I am in the tiny house business. I done gone from buns of steel to tiny house on wheels, you know, and being in this new space of fashion and the tiny house world. So I look back and I go, wow, all of these years, and it's been 28 years, I've been helping people to trim their waist.
Come on,
right?
Come on.
And now I'm helping people to eliminate space, right? Eliminate waste in a space, and that's a tiny house. So I have really evolved, and I am challenging myself and pushing myself to do something that I've never done. And that's also, when you think about it, to me, to be in this world where there are no people of color, I kind of feel like I'm back in, years ago when I was starting my fitness career when you had no black people.
Right.
So I had no one to kind of guide me and mentor me. And now I'm in this tiny house space, same thing, first African-American woman in it. And I'm like, go for it, B.
Yep.
But it takes time and you have to really go in as a business person because otherwise they see you as pretty and cute and let's make money off of her. Whereas you got to go in there, here's the plan, here's how I think we can partner, and here's how I can add value to what you're doing and you add value, and we can be strategic about this and monetize from this plan that works for you and for me.
Absolutely.
And then the fifth word is connect. I connect with God, but whatever your higher being is, you need to be accountable, So for me, I always put everything. I trust my whole heart in God. And it helps me because if I don't have faith, I don't even know how I got to this place if it wasn't for Him. Yeah. So connecting with Him, but also having good people around you to surround you.
Yes.
There's so many takers and not enough givers. There's so many people who are negative. I'm like so allergic to negative things and negative people. I will, if I find that energy coming in, I'm gone. Because nothing you personal.
You have to constantly feed yourself.
Right.
And people don't even know what you may be going through. You can't afford for somebody to steal your joy or steal your energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, life's too short. And, even when you think about women, as I've matured, I just don't have time for it anymore. Before I'd try to be the peacemaker. And I'd take this time and energy out and it's great. Don't get me wrong. It's just not my role anymore. And do I care about what this one said or this one doesn't like? No, I don't have enough time as it is. So my time becomes very valuable. Time is a precious commodity. So who you choose to spend your time with is very important. And that's where you're investing your energy. That's where you're nurturing these relationships because those are what add value to you. They make you happy. They make you accountable. So you don't have time for the riffraff and all the other stuff that happens with women when, we're not secure and we get petty and we get jealous and all that. I'm like, I'm too old. And I'm 55, but more things become important to me that really matter. Things that have more meaning and more purpose. The other stuff no, I don't have time. And I made a big shift this year. I just decided I couldn't do as many fundraisers and social events because I had to focus in on my tiny house. I'm getting a new one built. And it is going to be a marketing vehicle for me to partner with sponsors wherever I go and to be there with the little, I call it the love shack.
I love it.
You know, so I can partner with different companies when I'm at events. And let's say I'll be at Essence. They can wrap that little tiny house with their Essence logo and whatever else. And we show a TV monitor. We have a stage on top.
I love it.
And we got a whole entertainment unit right there servicing the people. And everywhere that tiny house goes, people are blowing the horns and giving me the little love sign because they don't see it. It's different. It's unique. But it's a mobile pop-up that allows you to go anywhere with it. The next venture is my another mobile pop-up, and it's food.
Yes.
So I'm working on that as we speak now.
I love it.
And you know, to be able to have this mobile pop-up industry that I'm in now to do fashion and food, I'm like, I done hit a home run here because what do we all like? We're going to eat.
That's right.
And then as women and men, we like a little fashion too.
That's right.
I'll be able to serve you even on a different level than, say, health and wellness. I'll still do that because that is my base. That's my baby. But I think I've become a mobile lifestyle guru.
Ooh, nice branding. I see it. You know what's really cool about it too is that in the reinvention process,
yes,
you know, like you said, we don't necessarily associate you with those things, and the process and the journey of it can be very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there were those days when you're like, okay, what am I doing? This doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
And then as you keep going, you know, you know what I equate it to? It's like when you're trying to grow your hair.
Yeah. So,
right?
Okay.
And you're in that in-between stage.
Oh, yes. We don't like this.
We don't like the in-between stage. And so you're going from a perm to natural or from short to longer or whatever it is. But there's that period in the middle. That space is so uncomfortable. And you just feel like you're stagnant, like you're not going anywhere. And when you think about growth.
Yes.
If you really think about it, when people are like, "Oh, I want to be this, I want to go there, I want to be a boss, I want to be a mogul," whatever it is, there is actually nothing comfortable about growth.
Right. And that's where you are growing in that stage.
So what I'm saying is, even in what you're sharing, it's a sign.
Yes.
If you find yourself in that middle stage of transitioning, redefining, redesigning your life.
It's scary. Oh my God, you know, I can sit here and tell you what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, but you better believe there are nights that I've been up, you know, going, God, what do I have myself in? You know, and I know that He gave this to me, so I know that this is my purpose and my passion right now, but it's unfamiliar territory. And so it's hard to be confident. It's hard to be, you know, like, I got this, because it's so new to me. So I have to be a student and humble myself and learn through this process. Like, you don't know how many times I've been, you know, talking to builders and having meetings and learning about the whole tiny house business, even with the fashion piece, learning from other designers and from stores what to do, how to do it, because I'm doing all of that now. So I really believe this is a part of God evolving me and growing me to that next season in my life. And it's tough. There are times when I'm like, oh my God, how much does that cost? Or, oh my God, you know, why is this person acting, you know, crazy because I'm entering into this space and they weren't used to anybody like me. So yeah, there have been some nights when I've just, you know, cried and prayed and, you know, and then you get back out there and you fight and you pray some more, because I know that this is what excites me. Like, I wake up, you know, I got fire in my belly. But there are other mornings where I could be waking up and I could be crying, because part of it, you know, for me, for a long, long time, I was a caregiver. And I always, you know, took the best care of my fathers, Papa JR and Papa Hercules. And they taught me so much. And so when you get to moments like this, I go back to that wisdom that they taught me. I go back to that mountain that I climbed, Mount Kilimanjaro. And when that took so much out of me, like, oh my God, I think about that mental toughness that I had to have and completing that challenge. I think back to running the Paris Marathon last year and the training and that whole mental toughness that I had to get through. So I can go back there because I've been there before.
That's called a testimony.
There you go.
You had to be tested, though. You had to, and you have a reference.
Yes, there you go, Dia. That's it, So I know that this is a tough time. This is challenging. It's familiar territory, but I know I'm going to get past this. And I'll be all right. It's just getting past it, staying long enough. Some of us will quit and give up. You got to stay the course, and staying the course says, to me, be obedient. And that's when I said, oh, wait a minute. I can't be at all these social events. I can't be at this fundraiser.
That's discipline. That's the discipline you talked about.
I got to stay home. I got to do my homework. I got to get this next tiny house ready. I got to get the food mobile pop-up ready. So people can see it as a sacrifice, but it really is having a certain mindset that this is what I'm going to accomplish, and it will take me to make different choices and different decisions on a daily basis to accomplish the goal.
Well, what's interesting is we have to, when we're in that transition, give ourselves permission to change.
Oh,
right?
Gosh, yes.
Because you are identified one way, but once you accept that you're in a shift, then you can teach other people how to respond to you, right? So if people find themselves confused about who you are or what you're doing, and I'm just saying this for even somebody that's listening, it's like once you get okay with what this new thing is, people will adjust accordingly.
Right.
And I just wanted to say, because I heard this, sometimes we feel like because we don't have it all together,
right,
that you can't be an authority in something.
Yes.
Or that even if you know some of it, maybe you don't know enough. And so, of course, that's going to affect your confidence and all that kind of thing, right? But when you think about like going to sermons or whatever, sometimes God will use that. He will have you go through a process just so that you can talk about it. Like, I'll give you an example.
Yes.
I try to motivate people all the time as a life coach, but some days I didn't want to get out of bed.
I've been there. Oh my God.
I'm just being real.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but I actually found it easier to encourage somebody else. Because listen, you can just post something on Instagram, but people don't know what you're going through for real, right? And so I'm saying to God, like, why would you be having me do all this? Why am I going through this when I know I'm called to be this kind of person?
Right.
And one of the things that came to me was, he said, I'm not taking you through this to destroy you. I'm taking you through this to redirect you. And what it does is it makes you more relevant, because my testimony about how I got over X, Y, or Z was 10, 15 years ago. And he had to make it fresh and real. And what it does is it makes you, how can you reinvent yourself unless you're relevant? So you have to be relevant. And it's something that has to be fresh enough for people to feel like, oh, another way of saying me too. Right.
And I think, for us as life coaches and motivational speakers, it's so important that we do open our hearts and open our minds so that people can connect. And you were talking about just the idea of redirecting. We go through it, and then God goes, okay, I had to put you through that because now I can trust you with this greater assignment.
And when people see you going through it, guess what? Nobody else will be able to get the credit.
Exactly, because he gets the honor, he gets the glory, he gets the praise.
And it's not linear.
Right.
So it's not like, oh, I went from here to here.
Right. Yeah.
It's like all around the merry-go-round.
They've been interviewing me about the tiny house. I was like, look, God blew me a kiss. I sat there. I was watching HGTV. I had my mind set on a fashion truck.
Okay.
Because that's all I saw.
Yeah.
And as I was sitting there, I was like, I'd seen tiny houses before. And he just spoke to me. And the vision came. And I called up my manager. I said, oh, it's not a truck. It's a tiny house. He's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, my boutique belongs in a tiny house, not a truck. So think about this. If I had done a truck, none of this tiny house piece would be open to me in terms of business, So he directed that. He redirected my thinking and path. Had I been so stuck on the truck, I would have continued with that and not been open enough to receive what he was telling me.
But check this out. Also, because in the process of downsizing, redesigning, your life.
Yes.
You're also now in a tiny house, and it helps us all to realize all that stuff that you thought you needed. You don't really need it. And sometimes it's weighing you down. Right. Even just the idea of it, all the things that it takes to take care of it, and all these things. And so I think the tiny house symbolizes so much.
It does.
But also in real time, God will have you going through a process of purging.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it mimics, what you're actually going to be doing in your new season.
Oh, yeah. It's been really refreshing and energizing, because anytime you're learning, to me, that's so powerful. And it also, think about this. I've been traveling all my life. When I think of all over the country, and now my business is traveling with a tiny house and a food mobile pop-up. But it also has opened the door, because now I've started getting different appearances overseas. So I say that because those appearances overseas will allow me to bring product back that's very unique and different to sell in the boutique. So that's all orchestrated by him.
Yeah, you could have put that together in your brain.
Right, and then the fact now that I have been writing for travel, now I'll have the opportunity to be a correspondent for travel.
I love it.
And that has always been like my dream, is to do a travel show.
You're going to do it.
I'm going to do it.
You're going to do it.
Just hasn't happened. And we've, interviewed, and things have, just haven't. And it's all about timing.
Timing is everything.
Maybe it didn't happen then, and God shuts that door for a reason. But I kind of feel like I'm in that season now, and I'm like,
you can feel the shift. You can feel the shift.
Oh, without a doubt. And I'm like, who better than someone who's traveled to 50 states, 51 countries, 6 continents? I know a little bit. And now I want to be able to give that knowledge and experience and get women excited to seek outside of whatever they know, to follow and do whatever's in their heart or whatever they desire to do. It's like, remove these boundaries that you put on yourself, take back your power, and go do it. We talk about it, but we're not about it. We don't be about it. And so that travel piece is now going to help me on a whole different level, being able to reach women and say, hey, part of what makes us who we are is not the material things that we possess, but it's those experiences, and they become ingrained as a part of our identity. And the more of those memorable, life-changing experiences we have, the more we are stronger in who we are, the more we can help other people. And so I'm like, wow, this is exciting. Let me get this travel show up and ready and be out there, because it is about not just me using the life coach to do the things that I do. It's mentoring, it's sharing, it's saying, hey, I've done it. You can do it too. But so often we get stuck, like you were saying earlier, and sometimes they just need to see someone out there doing it. How many people, like, I look at the Travel Channel, which I've interviewed with and everything, they just got an African-American person doing a show. But you're supposed to be a travel channel for all people.
Yeah.
So I just think that sometimes that one door opens, and now I feel like, okay, this is the season, this is the time, and I can be able to get women to experience things on a whole nother level that they hadn't. And to be able to travel and meet other people from different cultures, experience different foods and all, that is life learning. You keep that forever. So I'm like about making that happen.
So as we close,
yes,
to the woman who's in bed right now,
yes,
who doesn't know what to do next, and she feels like her life is on fire, what do you say to her, Donna?
Wow, life on fire could mean two different things. One, it could be you're going through the fire and you're challenged and you feel beaten and broke down. The other could be you're on fire for life. You're on fire for what God has next for you. And that's the piece I want to say. You got to have enough belief and strength to say, I trust in him, but more importantly too, I trust in myself that I'm going to make it through this, and I'm going to take back my power. Whoever I gave it to, or whatever thing that came that consumed it, you have to get back up on your feet. I don't care how difficult it is. It's taking baby steps. If it was just because, okay, I need to lose weight, well, get up and take a walk. If it was saying, okay, I need to get that promotion, find out what it is in terms of the criteria, what you need to do to execute to get that promotion. If it was you overcoming a relationship, well, first you got to forgive, because if you don't, you're going to be bitter and resentful, and you're never going to go anywhere, and he's gone and you still at the same place where you were. So I think that it goes back to changing how you think, changing that voice inside your head. Just shut down all of that negative self-talk that we do a lot. with ourselves. And now you got to replace it with I can, I will. You have to vision and see where you're going. And that vision and that talk has to be every day, 24/7, because you talked about your energy. That's where all the muscle that you're working, put it there so that it can work for you.
How do people stay in touch with Donna? Where do we find you?
Oh my God. So DonnaRichardson.com, you get there and there's inspirational tips for you. It's the online store. Then you have Donna Richardson Joyner, Facebook, Donna Richardson. I am Donna Richardson for Twitter and Instagram. So I'm all over. And Donna R. Joyner for YouTube. I'm like, there's so much because social media is very powerful. And I'm now seeing the results of that and where I'm going with it. And so now I'm like going, oh girl, you've been sleeping on this. And even if I have 250,000, who's to say that it won't go to 1 million? But you got to work on it. And and it's not just about the following, it's about the content. I make sure that I put out things that are going to help people. I want them to go. And maybe, like you said, it was that one woman who was just really feeling bad. And she saw that one little post that I posted and said, don't you try to handle it all. Turn it over to God. And why are you worried about it if you did turn it over to him? So it's just knowing that I am always constantly feeding people and serving, because I've been a servant for many, many years, and I try to serve at the best of my ability. So it's not just about, I don't focus so much on me because God's got that. He's using me as a vessel to help others. And I'm honored to do it, and I am so grateful to be here with you. And I'm like, girl, you're doing it, and I'm so proud of you. This is exciting because this is new. This is a new chapter in your life, and it's going to open up so many doors beyond what you could ever imagine or think. And
I received that.
Go for it. Do it, girl.
Thank you, Donna. I'm right here clapping. I'm doing a virtual clap right here for you and for me and for that sister who's listening right now who needs that word. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
For coming on the Superpower podcast.
I love it.
Because you're a superwoman.
Superwoman.
I'm your girl, Dia Direct. Make sure you stay tuned. Follow me at DEYA Direct everywhere. And listen, send us some comments on this podcast. Let us know what you think, how Donna encouraged your life. Make sure you share it with your friends. And let's keep the positivity. Let's keep the power going.
That was good, right? And those tidbits that Donna gave are so much life. Please hold on to them. Listen, we got more powerful stories, more powerful testimonies coming your way. So tell me, what did you get out of today's podcast? And, share with me. We need to hear what your thoughts are. Make sure you don't just download and listen, but make sure you share it with other people. And really important is that you write down your comments. Send us comments. Tell us what you got out of this podcast. What are you going through? What do you need to reinvent? What do you need help with reinventing? More than happy to help you, but we definitely want to hear from you. Listen, reach out to me directly after you send your comment on this podcast. Reach out to me at DEYAdirect.net. Of course, the Instagram for the show is superpower. Make sure you like that. Talk to us about today's episode. And I really want to thank Donna, who has been a great friend to me. I want to thank her for opening up her heart and sharing even a vulnerable place that she's in, knowing that it's working out for her good, but also pouring into your life for the betterment of where you may be. Shouts out to Platinum Sounds, Rashad Smith for holding us down, Walter Johnson for production in the studio. I'm your girl, Dia Direct. Until the next time. Until then, make sure you keep tuning into your superpower, where fly women testify.